Hello and welcome to Stage Time, the podcast that takes you backstage before the artist goes on stage. We are in a very different setting today. We're usually in the Clock Tower in London. Today we are in Berlin. Malachi, it's a beautiful old stables turned into a venue. And we're here to launch Live from Berlin, which is pretty much the same as Live from the Clock Tower, except for it's not in a clock tower, it's in an old stable. Today I'm joined by the lovely Malou Lovis. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So this is your first time here, I assume, to the stables?
Yes, it is.
Okay, marvellous. And for those who don't know, what do you do?
I sing and I do music.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're being slightly humble in your recent escapades, but you recently won The Voice Germany.
Yes, I
Which
did
is
actually.
mental.
Yes.
And we met properly for the
Crazy.
first time yesterday. We're in the studio together writing. And I had no idea you'd won the thing. I knew you were on it, your voice is incredible.
Thank you.
How long have you been performing music for? How long have you done music? What's your kind of history there?
I think I started with 16 when there was the wedding of my cousin, and she asked me to sing at her wedding because I did sing before, but not in front of people, just at home, and also in the school band, but I think it was after maybe, or also at 16. And then I started doing weddings, and lots of people asked me to sing at their weddings. And then, I got more gigs after gigs. And then I thought, okay, I like it and I don't want to do anything else. So I thought, how can I get lots of people to
You thought, I'll just go win a competition.
Yeah.
A national competition. Easy, yeah. Just
So
go
I thought,
win The Voice.
let's do The Voice.
And so who put you forward for The Voice? Did you put yourself forward? Or was
I signed up, but my best friend, she told me to do something so that people can see my voice and hear my voice. And because I've always told her that I want to be a singer. And then she said one day, okay, stop telling me that you want to be a singer if you don't do anything for it. Just do small gigs. And then I was in my room sitting and thinking, okay, how can I get lots of people to see me? So I just signed up for The Voice.
Amazing. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love with the wedding thing. I find that I don't get invited to weddings where I don't sing anymore. But it's a good wedding gift. So you do save money on the gift.
Yeah.
So you win some, you lose some. We'll go on to more things, but the voice thing is so fascinating to me because it's a big deal.
Yeah, it
and
is.
Especially, I don't know if there are any differences between the UK voice and the Germany voice, but it's a really big deal.
Definitely.
Had you done a lot of performing live had you done any TV before or radio?
Never, no.
You never?
Never.
So you went in cold. It's brand new experience.
Yes.
So what was that like?
I loved it, but I think because I've never experienced stuff like this, I don't know, I had no, it was okay, I think. I liked the cameras. I don't know. I was very comfortable in front of the cameras. I think for me it was perfect. Of course it was, I was very nervous. And the night before my blind audition I was like, maybe I'm not going to go there.
No, you nearly didn't do it.
Yeah.
Imagine if you didn't do that. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, very. My life would be very different now. But I think, it was crazy, but it was nice. I was feeling very comfortable in the TV and in front of the cameras.
Amazing. As if it was meant to be. That's quite it's incredible. And had you done a lot of songwriting before you went on The Voice? Had you done a lot of your own songs or was it just covers or?
I did covers mostly, but I did write songs myself as well. But mostly I wrote songs with my sister, or my sister wrote songs for me.
Amazing.
Yes, so I
she's
started,
also a musician as well?
She's playing the guitar, but classic guitar.
Yeah.
But she don't like to be on a stage or in front of the
so
camera.
fine,
So perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so obviously The Voice, as far as I'm aware, is mostly covers.
Yes, only covers until the final.
And you sang one of your own songs for the final. Was it nerve-wracking to do something of your own?
Yes.
To a cover?
Yes, it was. But it also, I loved it because I choose to tell a story. And I think for me it was perfect to combine the being on stage and telling a story. I loved it. For me, it was my favorite audition. Or
And did you sing in English or German for the show?
English.
English. Okay, so this fascinates me because I spend a lot of time in Europe and traveling, and I obviously write in English. That's the only language I can speak. But had I come from a country or I had been bilingual, is there a moment where you decide, cool, okay, I'm going to sing in English versus German, or is it something that felt more natural? How do you kind of choose?
I think I always loved to sing in English, but before The Voice of Germany, I started doing German music, and my sisters were is writing German, so I started doing the German part. But then when I wrote my own songs, I realized that it's much easier for me to do it in English because I always felt like I can hide. Kind of.
Okay,
I don't know. When I was singing my own songs in front of lots of people, I was like, okay, it's English. Nobody will understand. But of course they do because people speak English.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt like it's easier to tell stories in English because I felt more safe.
I have heard that from other German speakers who sing in English. They say that the singing in their native tongue is quite exposing.
Yeah, definitely.
And quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, I don't know the difference. So that's interesting. And do you find, having written in German and English, do you find one harder than the other, or is it?
English is harder for me to make it pretty, I think.
I mean, your English is incredible. I mean, it's
Thank you.
Better than my German by a mile.
I think to write in German is easier for me, but I don't know. I also prefer to write in English, but I still have to learn to write good songs in English, and so I'm glad that I have sessions with good musicians who can help me, like we did yesterday.
Yeah, it was a beautiful song we wrote yesterday.
Yeah, definitely.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, I mean, I have to pinch myself sometimes, but to go to places away from home and just like land in a studio setting to meet cool people and just be able to make music is such an incredible opportunity.
Yes,
And I've been doing this for a little while now, but it's still magic. I don't think I'll ever lose that.
That's so cool.
And so arguably, I guess, now from the show, you're fairly fresh into this whole industry, the whole kind of world of performing.
Very fresh.
Yeah. So how, I guess with TV as an audience is huge, but what's the biggest crowd do you think you've played to in a physical space?
I played on New Year's Eve in front of 65,000 people.
Oh my word. Okay. I think you've actually won. I've asked I think that's the biggest. Yeah, I think that's the biggest audience any of the other guests on the podcast have also performed in front of.
But yeah, it was very crazy. They asked me to do it 3 days before.
No.
Because somebody couldn't make it to the New Year's Eve, so they were like, okay, who could we ask? And it was just like 2 or 3 weeks after I won The Voice of Germany, so they asked my manager if I could do it, and I said, of course I want to do it. But then when I went to the rehearsals, I realized how big it would be.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very crazy, but it was fun as well.
I love your confidence and kind of your like approach to it, because it is fun. I mean, I think it's the best place to be. And with those kind of size crowds, I mean, I've played to tens of thousands, but nothing like that. That's huge. How do you feel in terms of connecting with the audience? Because there's a lot of people.
I think if there's so many people, it's very hard to connect. Yeah. But I only have like this one-time experience in front of so many people. So most of the time I play in front of like between 30 and I don't know, 200 maybe, but small gigs. I did like way more small gigs than big gigs. I think it's easier to connect when there's just a few people.
Sure.
But it's also even more, or I'm more nervous when there's just a few people because you see the reaction. Like, yeah.
And that's hopefully, I mean, what we try and do with the Clock Tower in London, but also here tonight, is to have that space where people can really connect and, you know, feel emotionally connected to songs. But it does get quite intense.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I mean, usually everyone's super lovely. And any time I've played in Germany, especially, the crowds are incredible.
Nice.
Have you played outside of Germany at all?
I traveled after school and then like during my studies again, and I've played in bars and stuff, but
Amazing.
I just went there and said, hey, can I play tonight? Stuff like this. So yes, and also on the streets. I did lots of street
busking
music.
And stuff.
Busking.
Now I think that's one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah.
Because people aren't listening, or they are listening, or you get abuse, or people spit at you. Or just at me, I don't know. Maybe they don't spit at you, but they
never happened to me.
But it's a good sign for you, bad sign for me.
No, I think it's just a bad sign for the people.
Yeah, true.
But I did this as well, but mostly Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that especially with busking, I think it's a really good character building exercise. So before it kind of prepares you really well for performing to any size audience.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
if you can keep someone's attention, one person in the street, you can definitely perform to 100 people, 1,000 people, or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so you're, I guess, within the space of a year, your kind of musical career and life has changed quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah. The Voice started in June, and then
Of last year.
Yeah,
So
June
it's
last
been
year.
okay. So we've just come up to a year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And the final was in
December.
Okay, so it's quite a long run. Yeah. So you're fresh out of the.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it a bit of a whirlwind experience right now?
It is.
A bit crazy.
Everything is crazy, yes.
Yeah.
And when I, for example, before I was calling my mom and told her what my next weeks will look like, and then when I tell her at the same time, I'm like, that's super crazy. How is it even possible that this is happening to me?
Crazy. It's also interesting because in such a short space of time, you've done things that a lot of well-experienced and seasoned musicians would not do for at least 10 years into their career, or to build up to these things. So you really jumped in at the deep end.
Yes, true.
Which I guess sounds like there's a beautiful kind of naivety to it, because I guess you don't know the difference, and so you've just kind of walked in and owned it, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, I tried to.
Yeah. What do you think, what I like asking people is, what kind of advice would you give someone who was starting out? I mean, obviously, in relative retrospect, you're kind of very much in the early stages of this new exciting chapter, but you've already done so much. So if someone was deciding, I love music, I want to perform, maybe they're not so confident, they're a bit shy. What's your kind of best advice, do you think?
I think for me, what's helping me is, before I play a gig or a show, it doesn't matter the size. I try to tell myself that, or I ask myself, what is the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Because I think that's such a good thing to just remind yourself that even if I will forget the words to every song I sing, it doesn't really matter. And all of the people who see you performing are just realizing that this is also just a human. And because I think when I'm in the audience and I look up to a person on the stage, sometimes I forget that this is also just a normal person. So and it happens that you just mess up or that you forget everything, and that's fine. I think so just enjoy, and that's hard sometimes when you're very nervous, but I think
I subscribe to that same mentality entirely. I think just be human. I think it's the best way.
Yeah, definitely.
And I find sometimes when I've messed up before and kind of just had a laugh and carried on, it puts people at ease. I think people know that they can be a bit more relaxed and not take it too seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you don't take yourself too seriously.
Sure.
And I feel like you can connect to the audience a lot more. Did you have any kind of mishaps or accidents on stage during The Voice or anything? Have you had any kind of bad experiences yet where you're like, oh God, I wish I didn't do that?
Luckily on The Voice, I didn't.
Clean slate. You're joking. Nothing. You just breezed through it, won the competition.
No, I mean, there are auditions where I felt more comfortable about.
Yeah.
For example, the battle. I mean, it was fun. It was so much fun, but the song was not good for my voice, I think. But still, I had a good time.
Yeah.
So
it seems like you're having a good time all the time, which I kind of like. Yeah, you're right. Life's too short not to. Yeah, I like that. And so with the format of the show, obviously with the battles and things, it's quite a different way to sing. I think it's a unique challenge to offer a singer, I think.
Yes,
and
definitely.
with your kind of, I guess all your friends on the show and all the other competitors, was there a genuine sense of competition, or was it kind of like good luck to everyone? And
in the beginning, it was good luck to everyone.
Okay,
but then
give me the spice, give me the tea. Spill
we
the
had
tea.
the team fights. It was the third round.
Fist fights.
Team fights.
Okay, but not like fighting physically. Just
no, it was just the name. And it was like a competition between the teams. So it could happen that one team is out completely and the other one went through with a whole team.
Oh, I see.
It was the first time that The Voice of Germany did that.
Okay.
And I think this was the first time when there was like a little bit of competition vibes, and because the audience could decide who will go through.
Right, okay.
So lots of very good people got kicked out because the people in the audience haven't seen the other two rounds before.
Okay.
So they decided just on this one performance.
Wow.
So that's
no
why
context. So it's kind of like
not at
right.
all. They didn't know anything about us. Nothing. It was
Wow.
just the one performance. So that's why
they don't know your personality.
Nothing.
They don't know your story, your journey.
We were not allowed to say anything before, and our judges were also not allowed to say anything.
Crazy.
So we just came on stage, perform, and then the audience decided if we go through or not. So yeah, it was crazy. Very mental crazy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And you were assigned, because I didn't get to watch the show because we have the one in the UK, but you were assigned judges. You had your own team.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like, kind of being mentored?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Because my judges were so cool.
And who are yours again? Just remind me.
Bill and Tom Cowlitz from Tokyo Hotel.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
They were so sweet. They're still very sweet, and they still take me to gigs and take me to performances and invite me to parties. So
Amazing.
and then they how do you say it? Show me their friends and
introduce you to their friends. And so they've really taken you under their wing.
Yes.
And like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Also,
so
I think
cool.
for starting out in the industry, to have kind of some older siblings to look up to and be like, what do I do here?
Yeah.
What's the best thing? And if they're looking out for you is incredible, because
yeah,
it's a really
definitely
difficult industry, especially at the start.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
there's-
very grateful that they're still
Yeah,
there.
amazing. And also,
yeah.
I guess they didn't have to.
No, they
You
don't
know,
have
they,
to.
They could have just, been
Yeah.
like, okay, thank you.
And it's now, and now it's already 6 months gone after the show, and they're still like, when I text Bill, he will apply like 10 minutes later and help me out.
Leave me alone.
Whatever.
Stop messaging me.
He wouldn't.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So with the kind of next steps then, what's your kind of hopes and dreams for this kind of, I guess the world's your oyster. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do now. So what do you want to do next?
I think I want to release music.
Because you've had one release since the show?
Yes.
Beautiful song.
Thank you.
What's the name of it again? The one?
Insecure.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's done a song. So you want to do more of that?
Yes, I want to release more and more. Maybe a PU, maybe an album. I don't know yet. But yeah, and then my goal is I will go on tour with Tokyo Hotel next March.
And that'll be your first tour?
Yes.
Also mental.
Yes.
That is just like a crazy first tour.
Yeah, I know.
Because what kind of capacity will they play?
I think
quite decent.
I don't know like about all the countries, but in Cologne, where I'm from, they play in a place where it fits like 3,000 to 4,000 people. Crazy. And I will play support.
Yeah. And are you going to follow them around different shows, or is it
we will. We are still like choosing which
are the best
cities and countries I would like to play.
Yeah.
So we choose the nicest ones, and then I will.
The nicest ones.
I'm
sure all the cities are lovely, but
I wanted, because I can't play all of them because I have to pay myself, and I don't have money. So
it's so expensive.
It is very expensive. So I will pick like a few, and then
I guess you want as well. I mean, it's an interesting thing to get into, I guess, for people who are listening or watching who may not be in music, who don't understand it, but there's so much goes into touring, putting shows on. The expense is so high, the return is so low.
Yes.
And we're kind of shackled to it because we love performing. It's what we want to do. It's the best version, I think, of music.
Definitely.
And so you want to get in front of as many people as possible, and then you have to pick the shows. So how close is it? What's the travel like?
Yes.
How big is the audience? It might be the cheap flight to wherever, but if the audience is only 200 versus 3,000 in another one, so much to think about.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing right now, to try to figure out which city makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. And then I try to release a lot of music before so that I can play my songs.
Yeah, amazing.
In the shows, and
And talk to me about your sound. Is that something that you think you've arrived at? Is it something you're still experimenting with? Kind of your influences and
I think I kind of arrived. I think I've never did anything else than what I do right now. I'm the biggest fan of like slow, quiet, dramatic things. I just love it, and I think that it fits my voice as well. So that's what I do. I do like singer-songwriter, slow, emotional stuff. Yes, and dramatic.
I find it funny because I think I probably fall into the same category of musicians who write quite deep, maybe sad, emotional songs, but seemingly are quite happy people day to day. I think it's quite a nice kind of
definitely
like balance.
Yes, and for me it's like the best thing to write down whatever happens to me.
It's like therapy.
Yes,
it's like literally just
definitely.
like therapy.
I have a diary. I have it with me wherever I go, and I just write
I
down
mean, I saw
all day, every
yesterday,
day.
so we're in this beautiful studio, Riverside
Yeah.
Studios, and there's a kind of a, I don't even know what you call it, like a platform next to the river, very nice. And you just have like your kind of like different colors. You have your pens and your pencils.
Yes.
You have like your highlighting,
Yeah.
like scribbling away. And is there like a process you have on the page, or is it kind of just free form?
Free form. And then afterwards I will, like whenever I finish a page or 2 pages, then I will go back and draw like little things on the side so that it will look pretty.
For when they put it in a museum later in life. That's it.
Yes.
I do think that when I've gone to like art exhibitions and you see, oh, it's so-and-so's notebook from whenever, I'm like, that looks too good to be their actual notebook, because mine would be just torn up. And
but that's my favorite part about it, to make it look pretty. Yeah. And I have like, I started my first one when I was 8.
Okay.
So
and you've still got them all?
Yes.
Wow.
I still have lots of, I mean, there were like years where I stopped writing, and then I continued to write, and then I stopped again, but I have like lots of finished books, and I just love to read through and see all the small things I draw, and
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so when you go on tour, are you going to different countries other than Germany?
Yes.
Okay, so because this is also interesting to me, I feel very confident performing, especially in front of English crowds, because I kind of, obviously they understand me as well as I can speak. But in different territories, there's a kind of a different barrier. There's a different, from city to city, even in Germany, I find the humor changes. So some people might laugh at something I say in Berlin, but then you go to Cologne and they're like, what?
But I don't make jokes, so it can happen to me.
Perfect. In which case, never mind. That's fine. Do you like talking in between songs? Do you just want to get on with it? Do you just want to, what's your kind of thing?
I try to talk a little bit.
Yeah.
So right now I'm really learning to talk a little bit and say a little bit about the song. But
do you speak in German if you're in Germany?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess if you go to other countries, you'll speak
I try to do it in English, yes. But then I have to like practice what I want to say before so that I don't mess it up.
I can't even imagine. I think I take for granted so much how people just like flip between languages.
But the good thing is that I sing in English as well.
So
I think
with the reflex.
it helps a little bit, I think. But normally I don't talk too much between the songs.
Yeah.
Sometimes
let the
I
music
even
speak for itself.
Okay. Sometimes I even forget to introduce myself in the beginning, but it's not happening to me anymore.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And what's the kind of, well, I like asking this question actually. What's your why? So it's kind of, what is the reason you're doing this at all? Like, why do music at all?
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to do anything else. When I worked a lot of different jobs and tried lots of stuff, and I also study at the same time right now. But
I don't know how you're doing.
Me neither.
All of this and still smiling. How you're still awake, I don't know. So you're studying. You did the show.
Yes.
While you were studying.
Yes.
And you were working.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yep. It was a lot.
Yeah.
The last year was crazy.
Just
and I do need a break.
Yeah.
So in August, I'm going to have holidays.
Okay, good.
For the first time.
That's so important as well. Especially,
definitely.
I mean, with touring and everything, it's very heavy on like psychologically, emotionally. And I think a lot of people think playing shows is just so easy. You just get on stage, everyone loves it. You go to different cities, but it's a lot of effort.
It is a lot, yeah.
And I imagine on the TV show was the same. It's kind of a lot of emotional energy.
Definitely, yes.
What do you do, or do you have like a kind of like a toolkit of things that you do to keep yourself kind of in a happier place, a healthier place with those things?
I think I have to find something right now, because normally it was music, but right now, because I don't do anything else than music, and I do a lot of sport.
Okay, good.
And I love like almost all of the sports, and I did so many different things, but right now I just don't have time.
Yeah.
So I think I have to manage to get back to like doing sport in between, because otherwise it's too much, and I need breaks.
It's an interesting observation about how we all start music as something we love doing, and it's a fun thing we do for no reason really.
Yeah.
It just feels good.
Yes, it feels
and then
so
it becomes
good.
your job, and then you're like, okay, so I'm just doing it all the time. And I think we discussed it slightly yesterday, whether we can still do music for fun. And I think it's something I have to consciously do, because otherwise I'm just thinking, oh, that would be a good song for this person, or maybe if I tweak this for my set, or when really it'd be cool just to make stuff. weird stuff, wonderful
so
stuff.
true.
But maybe you're right. Maybe you go away from it for a bit and re-find your love for the things that you used to have and to do. But yeah, I just think I'm the same as you. I just love music so much. I can't explain it. I just think it's
just the best, and it feels so good, and it's amazing to have like something to express feelings with, but don't talk.
Yeah.
I think
actually, that just maybe the last question. Then I think creativity for you. Is it? How does it land with you? How does it arrive with you? Is it something you go looking for and you find it? Is it something that you wake up and go, oh, that's a good idea? Is it a feeling? I think it's so different for each person. I think it's
feelings.
It's a feeling.
Feelings,
okay.
yeah.
Like an instinct.
Yes. Yeah. But I also sometimes I do go and look for it, but that's harder, I think.
Yeah.
For me, if I try it so hard and I want to like write a song today, that's like very hard. But
I think creativity's shy. I think it's like, oh, don't look at me. But then if you're not looking at it, it'll go bam, here I am, you know.
But also it's crazy. I think like that's very what a lot of people would say, but the worse, or how do you say it? The worse I feel.
Yeah, the worse you feel, yeah.
The easier it is to be creative, and
I guess that's where the therapy comes in.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you know how to connect the dots and feel
true.
better.
So whenever I have like a long time of just being very happy, I don't write.
So you're like, oh, gotta
I
get
need
sad.
I need to do something so I can write again.
Well, as you'll probably find out tonight, if you watch one of my gigs, it will make you very sad. That's kind of all I do. So if you need any sadness, tonight's the night. I can't wait for tonight. I think it's going to be amazing.
Me neither. I'm very excited.
Thank you so much for doing this. And for tonight, I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I always end with an awkward wave. Let's pick a camera. Let's just awkwardly wave here. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.